Hi folks, Paul Boland here, and welcome to the second work in progress video for DigiGraph 3. In the first video, which was released a few weeks ago, I showed you how the graph paper in DigiGraph 3 is completely dynamic. You can change the size of it, you can change how many grids it's made up of, you can change the color of it. DigiGraph 2 had static graph paper, what you got was what you got, but DigiGraph 3, the graph paper is completely dynamic. Since then, some new tools have been implemented, and I want to show you what the new tools are and how they work with the dynamic graph paper in DigiGraph 3. So, the first thing I'm going to take your attention to is this title up the top. It says Untitled. So what does that mean? Well, basically it's giving you the name of the drawing you're currently working on. It says Untitled because I have not saved this drawing as anything. If you now go to the File menu, these two options now work. Save Drawing As and Save Drawing. Save Drawing As is basically Save As, allows you to save your drawing under a different file name if you so wish. Save Drawing allows you to save the drawing under its current file name. Since this drawing is untitled, as in it hasn't been saved at the moment, regardless of which of these two options I click, one of them will be, they're both going to activate the Save As function. So, let's see, I'll just click Save As. It's asking me now where do I want to save the drawing to, so I'm just going to pop it in here. You give the drawing a name, and just call it, oops, sorry about that folks, just call it Test. DigiGraph 3 drawings are saved with the file extension .dg3. So when I click Save, this drawing is now saved as test.dg3. And then if I just go to File, Save, it'll overwrite that file continuously. You know, if you've used packages on computers before, you should know the difference between Save As and Save. So let's move on. As I said in the last video, we looked at this tool here. It was the only tool implemented at the time, and it was the Graph Paper Setup tool. There has been a slight change to this tool. If you look at the previous video, you'll notice that as you increase the grid size, hence making the graph paper bigger, it would run off the sides and bottom of the drawing area, because obviously with the grid getting bigger, the drawing area can't accommodate it. I have changed that. I've decided what's the point of having graph paper being drawn outside the drawing area when you can't access it. So now as you increase the grid size, you'll notice that the horizontal grids and vertical grids maximum count is decreasing, or if you make the grid smaller, it goes back up. So for this video, I'm going to set it up to 10, 6, and I'm going to apply a transparency of about, let's say, 40%, just to make my drawing elements stand out. I'm going to keep the default colors. So I'm happy enough with this graph paper setup. I just click apply. The graph paper is redrawn. And there we are, we're ready now to start drawing. So let's come out now and look at the new tools that have been implemented. Users of DigiGraph 2 will recognize these tools. These were the core drawing tools in that package. And of course, they're the core drawing tools in DigiGraph 3 as well. But they have to work with the dynamic graph paper, and you know, there has been a few extra features added in here and there. So let's take a look at each tool in turn. The free draw tool. Basically folks, free draw just allows you to free draw. You can change the line thickness and you can change the color. Basically you just hold down the mouse button and off you go. You draw a line. That's free draw. Simple. The draw line tool has the same things as the free draw tool. It allows you to change the line thickness and the color, but it also allows you to snap the grid. Obviously free draw won't allow you to snap the grid, or else it wouldn't be free draw. So I'm going to turn that on. The way this works, the cursor now snaps to the grid. So the way it works is you put the cursor where you want to start drawing, and you click the right mouse button, and then from that point you're drawing your line. So you put where you want your line to be, where you want to draw it to, and then you click the left mouse button. There's your line. Very simple. The next tool is Draw Continuous Line, and it has the same functions as the Draw Line tool. So again, you click the right mouse button where you want to start drawing the line. But now, as you click the left mouse button, you are drawing one continuous line. So that's Draw Continuous Line tool. Draw Radial Lines has the same tools again. And basically, users of DigiGraph 2 will recall this tool. It was a handy tool to have. You select a point where you're going to draw a number of lines from. So I'm going to draw from here, folks. And then every time you click, you are drawing a line from that central point. So lines are radiating, drawing radial lines from that point. Okay. So the next tool is Drawbox. And there is something extra in here, which I'll come to in a minute. Drawbox again allows you to set the thickness, the color, and whether you want to snap to grid. And again, you put the mouse where you want to start drawing your box, click the right mouse button, drag out your box, click the left mouse button, there's your box. Now, users of DigiGraph 2 will recognize that this tool is functioning the same way it did before, which means you would click where you want the top left, where you want one corner to be. It doesn't have to be the top left corner. And then you drag out your box and you click where you want the other corner to be. So you're basically drawing from corner to corner. Okay? One of the features requested by users of DigiGraph 2 was the ability to draw from the center. To select the central point for the box or a circle and to drag the shape out from there. In DigiGraph 2, that wasn't possible to do. But this is not DigiGraph 2, this is DigiGraph 3. And the feature is implemented here. So if you come over here, you'll see this new area of tools. It says Draw From. And you've got two options, Point to Point and Central Point. And Point to Point is the current option selected. Point to Point is you select one point, you drag out your box, you select the second point. Central Point allows you to draw your box from a central point. So I've set it to central point now. Basically the way this works is you select where you want the center of your box to be and you click the right mouse button, and then you can drag your box out from that point to whatever size you want. Then you click the left mouse button. There you go. So that's a new feature in DigiGraph 3. If I come back out and go to Draw Circle, another of the core tools, again it has this function built in. So we can set the line thickness, we can set the line color, we can snap to grid, and we can draw from point to point or central point. Point to point is where you select one point, drag out your circle, click to select the second point. Radial or central point is where you select the center of where you want your circle to be, click the right mouse button, and then your circle expands out from that point. I have to admit, folks, this was not a feature built into the tool set for MMF, drawing from a central location, so I had to work out the maths behind it in order to make the Draw Point to Point tool work like a Draw Central Point tool, and I was very pleased to get this to work. So there you go. Now, before I end this video, I want to show you one other thing. As you can see, I've got Snap to Grid turned on. When Snap to Grid is turned on, you're snapping to the grid. So I want to show you how the tools work with this function. The grid can be changed at any point during your drawing, and it won't affect what's already drawn there. So if I take the grid up more, let's set it to 20, which is double what I had it previously, and click apply. As you can see, the grid now is larger and it hasn't affected what's already drawn there. But here's a nice little feature, folks. If I then come out and select, we'll go with the continuous line tool. As you can see, I'm snapping to the grid, so click to where I want to start, and here I am snapping to the grid. So I'm drawing this line, snapping to a bulky grid size. If I then come back in here and I take this all the way back down, let's take it down to 5, folks, and click apply. As you can see now, I'm getting a much finer grid. Go back out, go back into continuous line. Now because I was using continuous line previously, it's still attached to this tool. If I went into another tool, folks, say radial lines, nothing would happen because radial lines was not the last tool I was using. So I'll come back out, go back into continuous line. Now as you remember, I drew this on a bulky grid setting. Now I can draw this on a much finer grid setting. So folks, what this means is, if you're drawing areas which are big and you need a bulky grid, you can set the grid size up fairly large, draw that part of it. You can then go into the grid size setup and draw a much finer grid to add in the fine details. So as you can see, the dynamic graph paper really is a joy to work with here. So that's about it, folks. I've nothing else I want to comment on at this point. You're probably wondering what this is. Now this is the commands list, and this is basically listing every command that I have done in my drawing. There is a reason for this to be here, and it's got to do with another requested feature that was asked for, plus some stuff I want to implement myself, but they're not implemented at the moment, so there's no point in going into this. But just to show you this, like every drawing command that I do is recorded. So you can see I've currently done 60 drawing commands, and just to show you, like if I select free draw, I'll just take the line thickness up. You see I'm after increasing the line thickness, so there we go. I now have 61 commands because the new command line thickness is set to 6. Well, I'm going to set it to 10, folks. It's still 61 commands because that's the current thing I'm doing. Line thickness 10. If I then draw something, 62 commands, free draw. If I go back out and draw a circle, 64 commands, because now why is there 64? You know, you're probably wondering that went from 62 to 64. That's because draw circle, draw box, and some of the line draw tools are a double command. What does that mean? Well, let's take a look. Let's draw another circle. I'm going to draw one here. Now remember, we're at 64, folks. The last command was draw circle, right? Which was drawing this circle here. So I'm going to draw a circle over here, folks. So how do you draw a circle? Think about it, folks. You click the right mouse button to select the starting point, and look, folks, what happens. That's recorded. Draw circle base. Base is where we've set the starting point. You drag out your circle, and then you click the left mouse button to create the circle, and that's recorded. Draw circle. So you see, draw circle is a double command, folks. It's drawing the base point and then drawing the object. And that also applies to boxes. Look, we're at 66. 67 is draw box base. 68, draw box. So everything you do in DigiGraph is recorded, folks. And users of DigiGraph 2 will know the reason for that. It allows your drawing to be completely dynamic. You can do so much with that type of interface, but DigiGraph 3 is going to build on that completely. So folks, that's it for now. I'm going to close this video here. As you can see now, all the core drawing tools are now in DigiGraph 3. Now, I do have other tools I want to implement, some of them being requested tools and others being tools that I myself want put in. I'm not sure how many of them will get in, if any of them, because some of them are quite complex, folks. But I'm happy enough to have the core drawing tools in, and I know from users of DigiGraph 2 that they love the core drawing tools. So there you go, folks. You've got them all in. I still have to put in the eraser tool and the text tools, but they're getting there, folks. So that's it for now. That's where DigiGraph 3 is now at the moment, folks. Let me know your thoughts. Give me your feedback. Any requests, questions, blah, blah, blah. Get them to me and I'll respond as soon as I can. So that's it, folks. Bye for now.